Hey everyone, this is Jace bringing you another Ever Crisis video. This time I'm going to be going through my Hell House Crash solo guide. I was able to clear this fight before the level cap was increased with Sephiroth, Matt, and Lucia, as you can see here. Sephiroth is going to be our main DPS, Matt's going to be healing and debuffing magic defense, and Lucia is going to be DPSing as well, but also debuffing ice resist. Definitely a little bit of like a red mage vibe going on with Lucia having the attack weapon and the physical attack weapon, but focusing on primarily magic. I'm glad I was able to use her here. This is a really tight fight, and you can do it as free to play, but you just need to have the right gear. Starting with Sephiroth, we're at almost 2.9k magic attack. We're running his Ice Arcanum or Frost Arcanum, whatever it is, the 35% boost costume. Edge Wings at OB4, Aonibi at OB1 in the offhand. Here are the materia I'm running. This one's mostly for HP. The fire materia has some decent HP and magic attack on it. And then this last ruin right here is just another stat stick for HP and magic attack. I'm running, of course, level 5 Diamond Dust on him because he has ice potency like crazy. First sub weapon there is Matt's Ice Blade. I think it's called Absolute Royal, but it's at OB4. Second weapon is the Sephiroth event weapon, and the third one is Aerith's Silver Staff, which has attack and more ice potency. So you can see here that I have lots and lots of ice potency for Sephiroth, so he's going to be absolutely chunking with the ice damage. For Matt, I am, like I mentioned earlier, running him as a healer. I have his Killer Attire. That's mostly contributing via the HP that it provides. Opens up a lot of things with sub-weapons that you can do. Prime Number in the main hand, since we're going to be healing. And Prime Number actually is going to be helping us more than just with healing. It has a support materia slot here, the buff-debuff extension, and that's important because we're going to be using that to get to level 3 ice resistance down pretty easily. So I put an Ice Breach in there. We're going to be pairing that with Lucia's Bald Eagle weapon to drastically reduce the boss's ice resistance in a short period of time. I have a Fyra and a 4-star Blizzara. In terms of sub-weapons, I have Glenn's Hardcore Squad, which, as I recorded the video here, I realized that I hadn't upgraded it yet. I got pretty lucky and pulled the last copy I needed to OB6 the weapon earlier today with tickets, so I boosted up to OB6. At the time of the actual run that you're going to see in just a couple of minutes, Hardcore Squad was still at OB5. I do these gear overviews after I've already cleared the fight. Shiva Blade, level 70, OB10. Chocobo Staff, level 80, OB10. And here are Matt's R abilities. For Matt's Summon, I have Judgment Bolt because AoE limit break / summons are really good here, and I have Shiva and Ifrit on Sephiroth and Lucia respectively because they have more attack. For Lucia, they're running Vivi's outfit for the extra HP. Like I mentioned before, really opens up what you can do with your sub-weapons if you already have enough survivability coming from your outfit. Vivi's gun in the main hand, Bald Eagle in the offhand. Here's my 5-star Blizzara materia with really depressing substats. That's in the 20% magic boost support materia slot. 4-star Fyra, and another stat stick that brings 3.8% magic attack up. In terms of her physical attack and magic attack, not too high. Magic attack is just below 2300. Cloud's holiday weapon, Ifrit sword, and Aerith's Sun Umbrella at OB3. So really helping Lucia out with the magic damage. And here are her R abilities. So there's a decent amount of synergy in this team. Sephiroth's Aonibi is going to allow him to deal with the magic attack down that gets put on him, and when the boss puts a magic attack down on everybody else, which he does in this version of the fight, that will allow Matt and Lucia to focus on debuffing instead. So Sephiroth will be able to get the magic attack off of himself, Matt will be able to Ice Breach, Lucia can follow that up with Diving Burst, I think it's called, I'm not sure, the ice resistance down from Bald Eagle, and then Matt can continue reducing magic defense while Sephiroth and Lucia deal damage. And that's how we are going to deal with the magic attack down. This is a really tight fight. I'm going to try to cover everything in real time, but don't be afraid to watch the video a couple times because there's a lot going on. Things have to line up just so. if you're having trouble replicating this and you have similar gear or just, you know, your own ways to get past the mechanics, level 55 is coming up in just a few hours, so don't hesitate to use that. Anyway, I hope it's helpful. Let's get into the video. Alright, the first difference with the Crash version compared to the EX3 is that the boss is going to start with his countdown. So you're starting with basically the harder DPS checks. So what I do is I start off by using Aonibi on Sephiroth, and I'm going to sit here and wait until Lucia is going to use her diving burst, and I throw in the Ice Breach so that Ice Resistance down is at level 3 right off the bat. Jump over to Sephiroth, hit Aerial Blade. Matt will use his Magic Defense down, and now we're just trying to blast damage to get through this gauge as quickly as possible because it's a very, very tight gauge. So even though we deplete the gauge, the boss is still going to get its AoE off, but the physical attack down is in effect. So if this happens for you and you've depleted the gauge, there's no need to panic. You'll take the same amount of damage as if the boss had been stunned, and the stun happens right afterwards. So you're not going to miss out on any damage. And actually I prefer this because I know that I can focus on healing with Matt and I can just focus on DPS with the rest. I don't have to time, you know, when is the stun going to run out or anything like that. I can just, you know, go for it. So for this point, we're going to be refreshing the Ice Resistance down using Lucia. Sephiroth is just going to keep using Aerial Frostblade from his Edge Wings. Matt's going to heal as much as possible. Once we have 2 levels of Ice Resistance down, we can switch to DPS for Lucia. The next phase that comes up is the God House, similar to the EX3. So basically the Hell House isn't going to take any damage. He's going to put a magic attack down on whichever character has the highest magic attack in your team. So what I'm doing here is I use Aonibi to get that debuff off of Sephiroth. I'm using Vivi's Magical Gun, the main ability from it, which is an AoE fire, to damage the bombs here. And then I'm switching over to Sephiroth and throwing single target Firas pretty much whenever I can. With a break in between here, I opt to max out Sephiroth's Aonibi, since he's just kind of sitting there doing nothing. And then same deal, AoE fire from Lucia. With Matt, I'm topping us off and then I'm swapping straight to a single target fire damage because we need to kill these bombs fast enough. If you actually don't kill the bombs fast enough, the boss's gauge or the Ice Stream attack can go off. Now here I'm putting an Ice Resistance down on the boss and Magic Defense down on the boss because the boss is going to get stunned here, and we use this opportunity to use Diamond Dust and Judgment Bolt because now all the debuffs are on the boss, including his stun debuffs because he depleted the gauge by summoning these last set of adds. So Diamond Dust is going to deal a good chunk of damage to the boss because Sephiroth has a lot of ice potency and the boss has plenty of debuffs. Judgment Bolt is going to damage these adds, and now we can switch back to the adds to finish them off. So we're really relying on maximizing our damage windows in order to get through the boss's HP. Because, spoiler alert, the end of the fight is just, there's a hard cutoff for the duration of the fight. He just, at one point, will just kill you. So you need to be pushing damage as much as you possibly can, while doing just enough healing to keep yourself alive. These abilities, the Ice Stream and the corresponding Fire version, they don't do quite as much damage as Heavensward, so you don't have to be fully topped off with the HP level that my team has for those abilities, but for Heavensward, it's very, very tight, so you want to be absolutely maxed out for that. Next up is going to be a Fire gauge. So I'm powering Sephiroth up with Aonibi, and I'm trying to make as much ATB as I can on the rest of my characters. Unfortunately, Lucia uses a diving burst here, which is suboptimal, but we end up having enough damage to just basically spam fires here as much as possible. As soon as I see that characters aren't in an animation or going to waste any ATB, I use Hellfire. For my team, it was absolutely necessary to get through this gauge. That's why I saved Hellfire and didn't use it with the other 2 limit breaks. Here we're able to spam fire abilities. We're able to deplete the gauge. The attack is still going to go through, but the physical attack down is already applied to the boss. So we're just barely going to survive it because we made sure we had pretty much full HP, if not completely full HP. Okay, here's the damage window from the stun. Lucia is going to lower ice resist, Matt's going to focus on healing, Sephiroth is going to focus on doing as much damage as possible. It's important to crank out as much damage as you possibly can, in between, you know, just keeping yourself just as alive as you need to keep yourself alive, which unfortunately for a lot of this fight means getting back to full HP. But every other situation, you want to be pushing as much damage as you possibly can. I opt to use one use of Aonibi there because the boss is going to lower our magic attack here. It's going to go into Ice Vulnerability. I put on the debuffs, and just before Greater Toy Bomb goes off, I hit Diamond Dust. That's going to make the boss have to recast that again. Greater Toy Bomb is an AoE magic attack down 3 tiers on your entire team. So that allows us to take advantage of all the debuffs we have on the boss, as well as Sephiroth's magic attack up before that gets applied. Now we're going to work on removing that from Sephiroth, and in the meantime we'll do some damage with the other 2 party members until their debuffs fall off, and then we're going to switch back over to refreshing those debuffs. So magic defense down is at 3 tiers already on the boss, so at some point, eventually, I'm going to go back into using Dive and Burst with Lucia. Sephiroth has brought himself all the way back up to the maximum level of magic attack up, and now he's just going to blast. I'm going to focus on making sure that we're all topped up with Matt, and as soon as we're topped off again, Matt's going to put his magic defense down debuffs back on the boss. This is how we maximize this team's damage when we don't have some other way of increasing the magic attack of the other 2 characters besides Sephiroth. The other 2 characters are going to focus on debuffing so that Sephiroth can, with his maximum attack or magic attack up buff, focus on doing as much damage as possible. Someone's come up, we use them as soon as possible. And yeah, we're just blasting. We're doing as much damage as we possibly can. Because after this jet stream, he's going to do one more countdown. He's going to summon one more set of ads, and that countdown can't be mitigated. It's going to deal more than 20,000 damage to your team. It's going to kill you. So it's really, really tight here. We're pushing, pushing, pushing. So we were able to deal a lot of damage to the boss in that window. Jet stream is going to get off. We've fully healed up, so we know that we're going to be safe. The boss continues to use chair launch, but it doesn't feel like a whole lot of damage compared to the EX3, at least I didn't notice it dealing as much damage. Since we're healed up, we're able to tank this, and from this point on, no more healing. This attempt actually looks better than my original clear. And my original clear, the boss had a little bit more HP. But the plan here is put the debuffs on, specifically the ice resist, because I think magic defense debuffs get wiped when the boss switches phase like this and starts up his next vulnerability gauge. But the plan here for me was once the gauge started up, I was going to use Diamond Dust, and that would kill the ads, and then we could just focus on blasting the boss. But since I put in so much damage leading up to this, that Diamond Dust just finishes the fight for us. And there we go. That is the solo version of Hell House Crash. Wow, what a fight. This took me, I want to say upwards of the high 30s or mid 40s in terms of number of attempts. But I was able to get it done. The $3 I spent on this account on day 1 didn't affect this team at all. So this is essentially a free-to-play run, but a day 1 player's free-to-play run. Newer players are not going to be able to do this, and if you didn't pull for Sephiroth, I'll be honest, I don't know how you do this. I'm sure it's possible, especially with the level 65 cap coming in tonight. So don't lose hope if you didn't pull for Sephiroth, but anyway, I hope the video was helpful. If it was, feel free to let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!